Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Disc Golf Pro Tour Talk with Steve Dodge. Happy Valentine's Day. Later on in the show, hopefully we'll be joined by Terry Miller. So I've got some quick topics to hit on, and then at the end of the show, we'll go through, if there's any listener questions, we'll run through those as well. The whole idea of this is to give you guys a quick recap as to what's been happening over the past few, in this case, months, and what we're looking to do over the next few months as the Pro Tour season begins. So as we all know, the Pro Tour season begins February 28th, runs through March 3rd, the Memorial Championship presented by Discraft. Live broadcast starts at 5 o'clock Eastern time every day. One of the great things we've done this year, and we'll get to this when we talk about the live broadcast and edited video and how we've made it better. One of the things we've done is we've made all of the broadcasts start in each tournament at the same time. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the Memorial Championship broadcast will start at 5 p.m. Eastern every day. So set your calendars. Now, one of the interesting things that's happened over the past couple of weeks is we've had baskets get approved for the 2018 season. We also changed the process for approving baskets. We got some feedback from the players, and basically one thing that was happening was players, if you're sponsored by Company X and Company X puts up a basket to be approved, it's hard to say no to that. Conversely, if you're sponsored by Company X and Company Y puts up a basket, it might be easier to say, that basket's not good enough. So we've taken the onus off the players and instead taken the onus onto ourselves for approving the baskets for Pro Tour play. And then if a basket doesn't do well, we'll review it and potentially revise as we go forward. Having said all that, that was an article we put out a week or two ago. And then sometime earlier this week, we actually approved our first two baskets for 2018. We have a third basket that has been submitted for approval, and we've given it back to the manufacturer and asked them to make a couple of little tweaks. But without any further ado, the MVP Black Hole Portal and the Discraft Chainstar Pro are our two currently newly approved baskets for 2018, and they join the other four baskets that are currently approved. Let's see if I can get these right. The DGA Mach X, the Prodigy Pro T1, the Innova Disc Catcher 28, and the Dynamic Discs Veteran. So now we have 6 baskets that are approved for Pro Tour play. Welcome aboard, Discraft and MVP. You guys make some quality baskets, and we look forward to seeing lots of putts get caught up in those chains. So anyway, moving on to a second topic. And again, if there are any questions, I'll get to all of those at the end of the show. But please submit your questions in the chat, and then we'll just run right through them. So topic number 2, Circle Zero. You might remember back in 2016, I think we did it best at the Majestic, run by Kale Laviska. We tried to put together a Circle Zero warm-up show, which would be 10 to 15 minutes before the first tee time, and we would do things like feature player interviews. We'd do hot spots. We would talk about fantasy disc golf. We would talk about a variety of things that are listed here in this beautiful document that we have up online. If you go to the news section in our website, dgpt.com, and just click news, you'll get all of this information, and you won't have to watch me. Or you could just watch me and not read any of that. So anyway, but the Circle Zero show, very happy to welcome aboard Dixon Jowers from On the Box podcast, and he's going to be basically helping. He and I will be producing that show, and then the idea is to have these 2 to 3 minute segments featuring really cool stuff and tell people about. Oh, another one is going to be pivotal holes. We'll talk about one hole and we'll go in depth on what the players are going to be trying to do on that hole. So with that, that's topic number 2. So the Circle Zero show is coming back, and we're welcoming aboard Dixon Jowers on as part of our media team. And with that, it's a good segue to the media side of the Pro Tour. So we have an article called 2018 Video Coverage More Better. It's more better on the live side, and it's more better on the edited side. On the live side, we're going to have improved, I'll say professionally edited coverage of the women spliced into the live feed. Additionally, we will have better integration of the UDisc stats. And I'll go ahead and say that at one point during the season, we are going to try off-site commentary from a booth. So we are putting all the last touches in place to try to make that happen at very least at one event this season. If it works well, we might try to incorporate it again. And then during the off season, we'll do some tweaking, and that might be the way we go in the future. So onward and upward with the live broadcast. On the edited side, more better is absolutely fitting. I'm sure Jomez Pro and Central Coast Disc Golf are both stepping up their games. Additionally, we're bringing on board the disc golf guy, Terry Miller, to do the edited FPO coverage. And so the women's coverage, in addition to being spliced into the live feed, will additionally get its own polish and be published on the Pro Tour channel and potentially the Pro Disc Golf Guy channel on YouTube as standalone pieces that get published. So the women will have the FPO1 lead, the lead women's card will have their own round coverage put up on YouTube, probably in the following week, not necessarily next day. MPO1 and MPO2 will also have next day, or MPO2 might not always be next day, but they'll have edited round coverage updated on YouTube, usually by Jomez, additionally by Central Coast Disc Golf, sometimes by Disc Golf Guy, and sometimes by the Disc Golf Pro Tour. MPO2 is a hodgepodge. We're trying to figure out the best ways to make that work. But basically, every single round will have at least 3 cards covered via edited coverage on YouTube. We'll link to all the various channels, and we'll include all of that stuff in our playlists. And on day 1 of every round, we'll actually have 4 feature cards, because we'll have the live card, we'll have Jomez's card, we'll have Central Coast card, and we'll have the women. So more better, more coverage of more disc golfers than we've ever had before. It's really, really fun watching this stuff evolve as we continue to improve. So all comments are always welcome. And that there's actually a good segue there from the live coverage, which is going to have better integration with UDisc, and UDisc is actually getting an upgrade. And working with UDisc will be working with the PDGA. So all of the PDGA events, just like all the Pro Tour events, will have complete stats for. Well, I don't know about the National Tour and Pro and Mate and Pro Worlds and USDGC. But at the very least, we'll have complete stats for the top players. At the Pro Tour event, we're going to have complete stats for every player, as we're mandating that people utilize the UDisc Live scoring app to keep score in addition to the paper scorecard. So after people complete their hole, they will go to the next tee and they will enter their scores on the paper scorecard, and then they'll also enter their scores in the UDisc Live scoring app. We've actually put out a nice video that talks about how this is going to happen. So go to our YouTube page, which you're on right now, and I think it's the video right below this one, as a matter of fact. So Matt Kruger from UDisc and I discuss how exactly all that's going to happen. So get ready for more stats than you've ever seen before. And along those lines, with working with the PDGA, another really exciting thing coming up for the 2018 season is working with the women. The PDGA has given us a women's grant to improve the women's broadcast. In addition to that, we're going to make a bunch of little changes on the course and off the course that will hopefully improve the experience for the professional women. one of which is a women's tent. So we will have a women's tent, just a 10 by 20 tent with mesh sides with a doorway so the women can get in, and it'll have some nice creature comforts that will make the experience of playing a professional disc golf event. Whoops, look at that. Can't talk right now. What's up? We'll put that on a little bit lower volume. So where was I? So the 10 by 20 tent. So have a bunch of creature comforts for the women to let them know that we appreciate that they're there. And when the round is finished, if they want to hang out with everybody, they can. If they want to get a little bit of a little secluded and get in their zone, their creature comfort zone, they can feel free to do that as well. Additionally, we're going to have porta potties at least in 2 locations on the course. That was one big request that the women made. We're also going to utilize the Pro Tour scoreboard. The big 16 by 8 scoreboard is going to have the women's lead card on it now, and that's going to be fantastic. So the fans of the women always go off early at the Pro Tour events, so they'll be able to watch that scoreboard populate throughout the first half of the day, and then 30 minutes before the men go off, we'll depopulate it, unpopulate, take down the scores, and set up the men's scores. So that's another really exciting thing. Also, we have those little the little leaderboards and a bunch of other improvements. Another big one is lowered entry fees for the women. One thing that's going to do, hopefully, it would increase the number of women playing because the barrier to entry is literally less. But additionally, the added cash for the women will be incrementally higher because percentage-wise, because per person they're putting in less money. So we will be distributing the added cash based on the number of people in each division. So the women are actually putting in less cash to get a higher percentage of the added cash. So lower entry fees, hopefully we'll get more women playing. And once we hit consistently 20 to 30 women in the pro side of the game, that is going to be sustainable, and we'll be able to increase the number of professional disc golfers on the women's side that are actually going to try to make a living playing disc golf, which is absolutely the goal. So the last topic that I have before I talk about our partner of the day is I'd like to welcome aboard Patrick Graziani from Pittsburgh. He will be our festival coordinator, and he'll be helping us set up the course, set up the festival, execute the festival, run the festival vending, and then when the tournament's over, helping us break it all down. So if you come to any Pro Tour events, please stop by the festival. Welcome Patrick aboard. He's going to be a great addition. He will also, in between stops, he will be running promotional events. These will be events where you should get a disc, a mini, a little card game, and then have an opportunity to win some prizes. Basically, we want the players pack to be the value of the entry fee, $25, and then everything else is a bonus. And the cool thing that, and this was all Patrick's idea, the more people that attend, the bigger the prize that we donate to the club for helping to put the events on. So after we leave, we might leave you with a Zuka cart and a basket, and then the club can raffle those off and raise some money for the club. So in addition to having fun promoting the Pro Tour, we're going to leave each club with a little parting gift that they can use to help grow the sport in their region. So that's it for me for today. I'm going to go ahead and see if Terry Miller knows where to go. Let's see. We're going to call Terry. We might just put him on the phone.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, Terry. How are you doing?
I don't think I have a link from you.
You don't have?
I've checked all my emails.
Oh, okay. So we are going to try, what should I do here? I'm hearing myself in delay on Terry's phone.
Was that earlier?
I could put you on speakerphone on the phone.
I mean, that's a pretty solid.
Do you have, I don't have any way to post this So I'm just gonna write a new email to you, Terry Miller at druidia.com. Okay, so that is sent to you, and that would explain why you hadn't joined into the call yet.
Yeah, I didn't form of the invite.
Okay, so that email is
Discgolfer.com?
yeah. It'll be there. Just give it a minute. You check your spam folder. That's where my emails to you normally go. That's what you say when you don't reply quickly. So while we're waiting for Terry to get that email, I'm going to go ahead and say one more thing. We're going to go ahead and do a partner of the day for each of these Pro Tour talks. And the partner of the day today is Tempercraft. So, or actually it's All Sports Disc Golf. They are much more than just water bottles. They also have Origins of Golf, which is a beautiful trophy company, and a bunch of other offerings. We're releasing our press release. I think we released our press release about our partnership with them today. So you can go read that press release. But a huge shout out to them. And this year we're actually going to be we have 3 different sizes of Tempercraft water bottles for the Pro Tour. We have the smaller, I think it's a 20 ounce, which is super easy to hold and should fit in the cup holders of any car. We have the 32 ounce, which we had last year. And then we also have the 64 ounce growler. These things are gorgeous. So if you like to take whatever your beverage of choice is, milk or iced coffee. Hey, there's Terry Miller. Thanks, Terry. I see you. So we're going to go to Terry Miller in just a second, but or your beverage of choice, those growlers are a perfect way to keep 64 ounces of liquid warm or cold throughout your entire round. Terry, can you turn on your camera? So, hello, Terry. It's nice to see you today.
How are you doing tonight, Steve?
I'm doing fantastic. So I just wanted to invite you on board. I know when you started your Smashbox podcast, you were kind enough to have me on there as your first guest, and I wanted to return the favor and had you on board as our first guest as well. So,
well, I appreciate that. What in the world are you doing?
Say that again.
What in the world are you doing right now? What is that?
We are doing a podcast. Well, it's actually a YouTube thing, and it'll become a podcast tomorrow called Pro Tour Talk with Steve Dodge. And I bring on some of my favorite people in the disc golf industry. And then you come on today.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that. I think I'd like to thank Proactive Disc Sports, who help with the Tempercraft bottles. Is that what you were saying earlier?
Well, that's really interesting. They are the partner of the day.
Yeah, they are. It's Proactive Disc Sports. So great to have them on board.
I assume you are a regular reader of our news feed on the Pro Tour page?
Yeah, I try and stay abreast of everything that you have in the works for sure.
So I will tell you that we have 1 or 2 posts going live every day from now until the start of the Memorial. So if you want to stay on top of the Pro Tour, that's the place to do it. We try to post stuff on Facebook as well. But I wanted to ask you, Terry Miller, you are a celebrity in disc golf, whether you know it or not. And you interview everybody under the sun and ask them all sorts of great questions about themselves and about their tournaments and all this jazz. I want to ask you, can you tell us a story, something about Terry Miller that might make us laugh, something funny that happened to you in high school? Just go anywhere with it, but just tell us something really fun about Terry Miller.
Wow. I mean, of course, disc golf's pretty much consumed my life. I'm 39 now. I started disc golfing when I was like 13 or 14. So I'm pretty fortunate that it's been most of my life. I'll quickly say, when I thought about colleges here in Wisconsin, I applied to a number of them, and I lived 2 hours north of here originally. And when I decided where I was going to go to college, I was like, oh, they got a really good disc golf course right near there. I'll just go there. Well, needless to say, that wasn't my smartest choice of all of them. But I would say one of a quick story that I'll try and give you guys, I'll give you the abridged version. way back in 2002 at the World Championships. Bonus points if you guys can tell me where it was. But Johnny V and I, many of you know Johnny V, also from Smashbox. We've been good friends since really college, sophomore or freshman year of college is when we became really good friends. We knew each other from grade school. And we went out. We went out as we like to do. We like to consume and take in the town, the nightlife of whatever's going on. And we're at the World Championships, and we went to a place called the Hurricane Hut. And I think it was a typical like Wednesday night, might have been ladies' night. I don't know what it was, but we go out to the Hurricane Hut, and we're there for the evening. We may have ran into the likes of an Anthon or a Rico or a Philo. Usually when we were out, more often than not, we'd see those guys. Well, when we came out at bar close, we went over to our rental car, which is, we actually had to borrow from our buddy because we weren't 25, so we couldn't have our own rental. And sure enough, it was, once you brush back a little bit of ivy there, we found a no parking sign and no car. And so
those two go hand in hand.
yeah, so us along with literally dozens of other cars had all been towed. It's 2 o'clock, 2:15 bar time. I recall we somehow convinced a couple of women to give us a ride ultimately to the tow lot. Once we found out where the cars were all taken to, these women gave us a ride to the tow lot. We got there. There was a line of people, all from the same exact spot. Apparently, this is pretty common. And we're starting to freak out because once we get there, not only are we going to have to pay cash, and they're talking about exact dollar figures, you know, $211 or whatever the weird number was. Not only are we going to have to pay cash, but we are not legally able to drive it because we're not on the policy at all, nothing. So we finally get to the line. We finally make the payment. And it's now going on 3:15, whatever time it is. We get out to the car. They let us in. We go to retrieve the car, and it won't start. It doesn't start because one of the new fancy triggers had been, one of the locks had been triggered, and through the towing process, it activated some kind of locking mechanism. So now we're on the phone with call center representatives. I think I talked to someone from GMC or wherever the car was from. It's all this craziness. We finally get it. We have to, you literally had to like honk the horn and shut the door and then wait 10 seconds and then open the door twice. And it was this just completely crazy thing to deactivate it. We finally then realize we're not going to be able to get it out of there. It doesn't happen. The tow truck guy from the lot takes the car, or takes us, I should say, me and Johnny, and drives us back to the hotel in his tow truck. So we have to pay for that while the car's still back at the lot. And as he's dropping us off out of the tow truck, I'm grabbing my golf bag. Johnny's got his, plus our 2 or 3 other friends' golf bags. And we're getting out in the parking lot at like 6:15 in the morning. We're walking into the hotel with all of our golf bags for everybody because the car was at the lot. Everyone's like, oh, good luck, have a good round, blah, blah, blah. Little did they know we were coming in from the previous night's outing, and we have everyone's golf bag with us. And
you just turn around and head right out to the course.
That's exactly what we did. And our friend Kazi, who we're still friends with to this day, was fuming. He's a pretty conservative fella. He's a few years older than us, and he was not having any of it. He was not entertained. He was not amused. He was worried about the policy. He was worried about the rental car. He was worried about all of it. And needless to say, we got the bags back. We came back in, and sure enough, we got rides out to the course. We had to pile into another car, and we went out and played. And I remember at one point laying down on a bench in the 100-degree heat and kind of taking 30 or 60-second naps while we were at holdups during a 2-round day of golf at the World Championships. So Houston Worlds, a story that I'll never forget. That was the Hurricane Hut.
That is a beautiful story. I suspect anybody over the age of 35 has had that experience where their car got towed and you have to pay the cash.
Yeah.
My similar experience, you have to pay the cash, and then you have to go for I had to go for a very long walk to an ATM that was about a half mile away. Not a very fun experience at all. And I did not have to play a round of disc golf that mattered the next day. So thank you for sharing that, Terry. That was a beautiful little story.
Well, yeah, no problem. And I originally, when I was thinking about any kind of story, I always think, well, do we need a teachable moment? And I guess every good story, there's a teachable moment buried somewhere. And now whether it's, double check where you're parking, or, have your own rental car, or whatever it might be, don't go out, during World's Week when it's only like Wednesday. I mean, any one of those could be takeaways, but it was definitely a night I'll never forget.
Well, I saw a post by Nate Heinold about the Ledgestone that said he had a $1 million economic impact on the cities and towns in the area. And I think it might be a couple $100 more than $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. It was, and then we had to go back the next day. And then it was goofy because we had to kind of lie to them about how the car got towed and what the problem was. And we couldn't admit to the rental car agency that an unauthorized, drivers, underage drivers, were even driving it in the first place. It was a little shiesty.
And it just gets worse. And the fun thing is that was the abbreviated version.
Yes, it was. Actually, there is a lot more to it. And I'll end by saying, the end of the week, Saturday night, we all found ourselves back at the Hurricane Hut for a very adventurous, but yet not as crazy night.
Indeed. So Terry, I have I'm going to close. I'll close with you with a trivia question, because you love asking trivia questions, and I'll close one with you, and then I'll go through and answer the questions. And I'm looking through the comments in here, and I see one person commented that they were amazed that the tent would have a doorway. Sounds like a pretty amazing tent. That's a very clever comment.
Well, it was very clever of you to point out that there'll be a tent. It'll have a doorway so they can get in. I was like, wow, you are stepping it up big time this year.
We last year we had a tent, but you couldn't actually get in. But so this year, yes, we are improving constantly here on the Pro Tour.
When you do stuff like that, it makes me feel good that I'm not taking a pay increase this year, because I see where the money's going to tents with doors, and that makes me feel good.
And thank you for pointing out. You're right. You're not getting a pay increase. I think we agreed that it would be based on your performance, and we agreed it would probably not go up.
I make no promises about improvement ever.
Okay, Terry. So our trivia question for you today, and no guarantees. We might reuse this during the season as a way for the listeners to win some prizes. But Terry, the trivia question for you: at the 2017 Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship, do you remember that?
I vaguely, yep.
Okay. Who was the lowest rated player?
Well, it's almost insulting to spit out a guess or a few of them. You didn't specify gender, so.
I'm sorry. I should say MPO.
Damn it.
That's what I meant.
Damn it. Okay, because I think I was about to be right. Gosh, the lowest rated MPO, so it would have been someone that had to make it into the obviously qualify to be there. And then I think about a few of the gentlemen that I'll say I just don't know as well.
Would you like a hint?
Yeah, give me one hint.
You know this person well.
I know the person well.
I have two more hints for you if you'd like to hear them.
I mean, I know them well. I know a male well that made it into the finals. that
Well,
attended the finals.
I didn't. Yeah, I was going to say I didn't say they made it into the finals.
Yeah.
But I will tell you a second hint. They made it into the semifinals. I don't know if that helps you very much.
I mean, well, I guess I'd be curious to know what your definition of me knowing them well means, but I know his ratings climbed considerably. Mike Conley, I know he's like 986 or 998 now, so I don't think he would have been much lower back then.
So
Dana definitely wouldn't have been at.
I will tell you the lowest rating at the Pro Tour Tour Championship was 987.
Oh, wow. So that makes me think of like, well, and I don't know him that well. I was going to say like a Reed Frescura. But I don't know him well.
I will give you one more hint.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want it. It feels like you need the third hint.
Yep.
He made it to the finals.
Okay. So then it would be Dana.
That's right.
Huh.
Dana Vici.
I'm surprised he was rated just 987. I know he's dabbled in the it. Did you look then or look now? Because I know he's dabbled in that 1,000 category.
I looked now.
Okay, so I bet you are. I would be willing to put down a wager that you were incorrect. That he was not at the time.
So I'm under the impression that that the PDGA locks ratings when an event goes.
That is a new feature that your rating is associated with you at the time of the event. That's a new feature they added, what, a year or two ago?
So wouldn't that mean that the ratings are accurate for when the event happened?
What do you mean?
So he was the lowest rated person at the event.
Oh, okay. Really? Huh. All right. Well, then I guess you got me. That surprises me.
Well, great. I love to and your story about trying to rent a car when you're 23 or 4 surprises me. Actually, it doesn't surprise me one bit.
Well, I knew I couldn't rent one. The problem is we couldn't keep one legally parked. And I, in fact, was the actual driver of it too. I don't. All these years later, I'm not sure if that matters, but it was me that drove it there. But we were parked with everybody else. There was no reason not to park there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway,
yeah, and I like that you cleared away the ivy so the next people wouldn't get to it.
Yes. Even though the next night, I'm sure that same racket went down in that same parking lot.
Terry, do you want to help me run through the questions and help me close out the show?
Sure, let's do it.
All right. So, do men get tents? Do you know?
There will be other unisex tents out on the course.
That's true. And there will be a scoring tent and a VIP tent.
But there will not be a specific men's only tent.
No, the way that I view this, in fact, is that the men get basically all of the other tents. 90% of the people at the tournament are men. So if you go into any tent at any time, in all likelihood, 9 out of 10 people in that tent will be men. So in my opinion, men kind of do get tents. But the answer, the real answer to that is no. All right. So moving on to the next. This is intense. Okay. I'm just waiting to ask Steve, what is the limit to getting the Pro Tour back to the awesome community in Minnesota? We need you back. Do you agree with that, Terry? Minnesota's awesome.
Minnesota, I'm sandwiched between 2 great states of Minnesota and Michigan, both amazing for disc golf, like Wisconsin. And Minnesota's got the community and the people and the courses and the atmosphere. It's got everything. It's, I think, like you would probably say, Steve, it's a matter of a club or individual or organization stepping up to be able to fulfill all of the hefty requirements that are part of being the very exclusive Pro Tour. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you basically nailed it. Minnesota, especially Minneapolis, is a fantastic venue. They've got Blue Ribbon Pines there. They've got Vision Quest. What we need is someone that can commit to running it and making it happen. I've talked with Ray. I've talked with Mike. I've talked with Kale. Everybody's interested in getting back there. We just need to put the right team in place. And absolutely, Minnesota, Minneapolis, fantastic place. And I'll go ahead and say that my first trip to the Mall of America convinced me that the people of Minnesota are potentially the single nicest people on the earth. Now I'll go ahead and say that when we went to Silver Lake, there in Wisconsin, I think, and then down in Waco, those people also put up a battle. So maybe we'll have a battle for the nicest people in the U.S., but I guarantee you that the Pro Tour stops there.
And just to take that one quick step further, a lot of people say, when either the PDGA releases a schedule, anytime a schedule is released, a lot of people kind of will groan or sigh and say, oh, why isn't there, a Pro Tour stop here? Or, oh man, I really wish Worlds was, on my side of the country. And I always kind of say the same thing. You need this dedicated team of volunteers that are going to work their tails off in order to put in a bid. People, if you're a great place and you have all the right tools, you'll have a big event and a great, experience. But somebody's got to step up and be the front man or woman. And that's where it all starts.
I couldn't agree more, 100%. Next question, will the festival be set up all 4 days at Vista? The answer is the festival will be set up. It'll actually be set up maybe 5 days at Vista. The festival will run on Tuesday during check-in. I think it's 11 to 4 or 12 to 4, 12 to 5, something like that. We have a spectator guide going up in the next couple of days. So that complete schedule should be on the spectator guide. And then we'll also have the festival executing on Thursday and Friday. So Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday are the big nights for the festival. And it'll be the festival. We'll have some vendor partners there. And then we'll obviously be vending as well. So someone recommended holding the FaceTime up. So I just do a FaceTime with Terry. That would have been a really fun, that would have been a great way to get a split screen, wouldn't it, Terry?
Yes. Again, your technology is next level thinking usually, or next.
Yeah. Next level. That's what it is. Okay. So the next question, whoops. Where did I go? Sepia. Have you ever been playing disc golf and tried to say the word basket and say biscuit and suddenly really want a biscuit? I'll put that one to you, Terry.
No, I don't like biscuits.
And I'll agree. I do like biscuits, but I've never actually done that.
But isn't one of your sayings, which I've caught myself repeating, I think twice in my life, with the biscuit in the basket?
No, my saying is he beat him like a rented mule is my saying.
You've never said put the biscuit in the basket?
I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to say it now. So I'm able to say yes.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. Yes, I've never. As far as I know. I mean,
all right. Well, then I fully plagiarized someone else. I think I've used the phrase twice, and both times I think I was quoting you, or so I thought.
No, I think I'm straight as a string, birdie, and beat him like a rented mule.
Huh, okay.
I'm probably the only person that says birdie. I think I invented that term.
Yeah.
So is this show podcast going to be recurring throughout the year, Troy? Not only is it going to be recurring throughout the year, every Wednesday at 8 o'clock, just like Smashbox is on whenever they're on, we're going to be on every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And then the goal is to release this the next day or sometime in the next few days as a podcast. So yeah, that's the goal. And a couple people guessed Dana. Terry's struggling. Steve is right. Those are, I mean, we should just do a copy paste on that.
Yeah. I mean, really, that if that's not 2018, a precursor right there. Terry's struggling. Steve is right. I mean, come on.
MVP Open. I'm not paying a buck.
There you go. Good call.
Will UDisc have notifications for the fans when a player finishes a hole? I don't anticipate notifications happening, but I know that if you're watching the app, you can actually see them as they traverse the hole. At least the top 3 cards will be that way. Will we ever see a Pro Tour event in Milwaukee, Wisconsin? Same answer as previously. Steven, you're just going to have to keep checking the app. First of all, why wouldn't you just have the app open all day long alongside the live broadcast? I think that's what Terry would recommend. Is that true, Terry?
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
And then what are your thoughts of having the finals at Vista instead of Fountain? Do you want to give a 2-sentence reply to that, Terry?
I'm glad to be there covering the event. I personally like the idea of the finals at Fountain. However, I also completely understand their logic for having it at Vista. So that's what I say.
I'll concur entirely. Fountain is an amazing venue, especially with those paths and all the people that come out to it. Keith believes he's going to get a bigger crowd at Vista watching the finals. If that happens, 100% agree with the change. And if it doesn't happen, I totally understand the change, because Vista is kind of the central location, and there's just a lot easier logistics having the finals there. So I'm on board with the change. Those guys, they see what happens and they make adjustments. Maybe someday I can learn that lesson. Tyler wants to know if we ever consider having a sister C or B tier to coincide with Pro Tour events. The answer is absolutely yes. Probably about half of our events have concurrent amateur events, and the other half, most of the other ones have AM events the week before that play on the same courses. So it would be difficult to have a concurrent AM event playing on the same course.
I'll follow that up real quickly and say I've heard the request, and it kind of mimics that idea. Would you say for someone who's interested in having a Pro Tour, let's say they think they have the team, they have the resources, they have the people, what's a good way to get your attention? Would you like to see them run a really large, successful event, 1 year, and then by that next year, make sure that, to point it out to you? Or what would be someone's steps if they were trying to earn their way onto the Pro Tour in terms of running one?
You're asking me a question?
Yeah.
Then I should have paid attention to the question.
Yeah. So the question is, how does an event, assuming they have the staff and the course, how does an event become a Pro Tour stop?
And actually I'm in conversations with about 3 or 4 different events right now who want to be on the Pro Tour. It starts with an email or a text to me that says, hey, I've got a course, I want to run an event, or I've got a course, I know someone that wants to run an event. And then we begin a conversation. Usually it's about a 10 to 20 minute initial phone call where I ask you, do you have parking? Do you have good cell signal? Is this really a championship caliber course? Who is the staff that's going to be running it? What events have they run? And we just run through, and is the course private? Is it public? Is it well supported? How big are your clubs in the area that want to help put this on? We run through a gamut of questions, and then I send, presuming you answer those well, I'll send you a link that says, here, fill out this form, and it has check boxes basically on all of the different things that we look for, and then the conversation begins. So, and actually in 2018, I'm hoping that we will have 2 or 3 test events throughout the season. If those go well, they will be considered for becoming a part of the Pro Tour in 2019. That's how we do it. So, and then we just got a couple more quick questions here. Larry Puckett complains that UDisc and the live stream don't quite match up, so he doesn't want to watch them concurrently. I can understand that, and I wonder, it feels like we talked about that before, and I thought that they were putting a delay in UDisc so that it would match.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm wondering, I know there's a built-in delay because everyone is seeing the live feed 15 to 20 seconds after, so UDisc also builds in a little bit of a delay so it matches up with our feed correctly. But if somebody's exclusively watching, I can see how that might still be off.
Yeah, it would be a little off, even if they built in the delay. And actually, Gary to the O is commenting that that UDisc is instant while the live feed is delayed. So
correct.
We'll have to I don't know the answer to that then, but it's a good conversation. We have weekly conversations, or I have weekly conversations with you guys. I can bring that up, but I don't think there's any real way to sync it perfectly, because things are a little bit nebulous in that 15 to 20 second range. And then the last question of the day: will you be advertising in San Francisco prior to the event to draw outside spectators? Sean Jack is running that event, and yes, absolutely, he is going to be pumping it and getting spectators to come out. That is one of the goals. He as the VP of sales for the Pro Tour, he gets what it is that we're building and understands this is what we need is spectators. So absolutely, he'll be pushing that. And Carver, if you live in the area, reach out to Sean and ask him if you can help promote the event. 100%. So with that, Terry, I'm going to say thank you very much, and peace out.
All right. See you guys. Thanks for having me, and good luck with everything else. We'll see you in a couple of weeks, buddy.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Terry. And thank you all for watching. This has been Pro Tour Talk on Valentine's Day 2018, our very first broadcast. We'll do this weekly at 8 o'clock. Stay tuned and watch Smashbox next week, and get ready for us the following day. Good night.